A&B Properties is Quincy's largest apartment rental company with hundreds of units available. They offer short-term and long-term rentals with 1 up to 4 bedroom apartments. A&B Properties meets the needs of its tenants with care, compassion, and a quality of service that exceeds expectations. A&B Properties also has a convenient tenant app for you to do your payments or make repair requests. Give them a call today. A&B Properties, 217-919-8080, Quincy.
So anyway, my guest today is Dr. Jay Johnson from Active Edge Chiropractic, and I'm really happy that you agreed to come on the pod.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And
I did come in to see you yesterday.
Yes, you did.
Did I tell you why I came in? I mean, obviously,
yes,
I did.
For HIPAA violations, you have to tell people why.
You can't say why.
I can't say why.
I can say why.
You can say why, yes.
So yesterday, I knew that I was going to see you today.
Mm-hmm.
and
you just wanted to scare the crap out of me or something?
I just wanted to just do all the wrong things to freak you out so you wouldn't come on today because I wanted a day off.
Okay, fair enough.
No. I was feeling just
You wanted me to go all alone by myself and interview myself, right?
You could do it.
Okay.
You're that talented.
Okay. You give me way too much credit.
Well, no, I just like going into Active Edge. So you guys have this, what's the bed? The hydro massage bed?
Hydro massage bed, yes.
Okay.
We have a lot of different things for people to make them feel better. So
right. You've got red light therapy, and you've got the cold plunge.
We got decompression. We've got soft wave therapy. We've got, a lot of these things came from, certain frustrations in care. And I was like, okay, in order to treat this person better, I need to add this service, and so I'm always looking for new, therapies that essentially are research-based that are going to help my patients get better.
Rachel had an appointment with you this morning at 8 a.m. and she canceled.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, she had an appointment. She was does not feel well today.
Okay.
And she goes in to see you. I have an interesting story.
Okay.
And it's going to segue into my notes right here.
Okay.
So when Rachel and I were dating, I was going in for regular chiropractor treatments. Okay. And so I was joking with you earlier. I wasn't not really a joke, but I'm kind of I feel like I'm a chiropractor connoisseur. I started going to a chiropractor when I was 4 years old.
Okay.
Okay. Living in the suburbs of Chicago. And Dr. Dennis Nyquist, I wonder if that guy's still alive. He was my very first chiropractor.
Okay.
And even when I was a little kid, he would adjust me and then I would laugh afterwards because it's a funny sound.
Yeah.
Crack,
Sure, of course.
And,
did he give you the popcorn reference? You feeling popcorn?
No, but not like that.
Yeah. A lot of, when you're young, when you're treating younger kids or whatever, you're like, oh, you're going to feel a little popcorn now and, you feel a little movement or whatever. But I use that on my kids all the time and they really enjoyed that. So
yeah. Popcorn,
yeah.
A scratch and sniff sticker, just something to take their mind off stuff. So I went to a chiropractor in the suburbs and then all the way through, and I want to give a shout out to Brendan Bruning and Holschlags over at Natural Health. Those guys are just...
Dr. Holschlag's a great guy.
Holschlag at Natural Health,
yeah.
Amazing. Chip and Eddie, love those guys.
Yeah.
Brendan Bruning at Wellness Center, love that guy.
Yeah.
His predecessor, Dr. Dinah Franklin.
Yeah, oh my God. Yeah, she was such a sweet lady.
Oh my gosh. So we're talking about just really good,
good
people.
Good people.
In which brings me, I think they are some of the best people around.
Yes.
And I go to them sometimes.
Of course.
I do. One time, Brandon Bruning, my wife called Dr. Brandon Bruning from Bruning Wellness Center on 24th and Chestnut area here in Quincy. Rachel calls him up at 3 a.m. and says, Valentino, we used to call this scream the baby in the oven scream.
Yep.
Because this sounds terrible, but what does it sound like? What kind of scream? Where's it coming from? Well, if you put a baby in an oven, what does that sound like? That's what he would sound like.
Okay.
We shot the car over to Dr. Bruning's house, and he used this little technique where under the either above the diaphragm, under the diaphragm, and just made this motion and stopped Valentino screaming. At 3 a.m.
Yeah.
You got doctors like that
Yeah,
that will
course.
just take care of their patients because they're like, please, I beg you.
Yeah.
And then we tried to paint, he wouldn't take any money.
Yeah.
It's just amazing guy.
Yeah.
So it's the amount of times that our family comes to see you, we come to see you
Yeah.
for a very serious reason. Why? Is because aside from the amazing men and Dr. Dinah, who's not with us anymore, they are amazing. There's something that draws our family to you and lots of others. And Active Edge is an amazing place. It's
Thank
just
you. I appreciate
absolutely
it.
amazing.
I appreciate
So
it, yeah.
when Rachel and I were dating, she would see that I would go to a chiropractor, and she absolutely just wasn't going to do that. And then one day she did. And then after a year, she's kind of like, she has to go see you on a regular basis for maintenance because she feels so good.
Yeah.
And the number one thing with chiropractic is, in my opinion, is once you feel so good, and once you get somebody that you trust, that you feel so good that when you stop and you go down in frequency, down in levels where you just stop paying attention to yourself, you feel badly.
But I think it's always important to try to feel more to be more proactive about your health than reactive. There's so many people in today's age where they're very reactive about their health. You know, they have the heart attack and then they're like, oh, now I need to start eating better. Okay, but you're trying to take a proactive approach to your health by trying to keep your mobility better, by trying to keep your mindset better. I mean, you were talking to me yesterday about how, you know, you're constantly, you know, you're trying to eat well. And all these little small steps, basically, so you prevent bad things from happening down the road, or hopefully bad things from happening down the road.
Well, in the green room, we were talking about how I'm able to go walk out into a soccer field with kids from QU, like soccer players, like really good soccer players and high school kids and other like coaches, soccer coaches that are much younger than me in their 20s. And I can play with them at 47. And I looked at you, I go, because I go to Active Edge. Like, I mean, I keep an active edge on myself.
Yeah. Well, it's funny that you mentioned that because I have a patient who we've been treating for quite some time. And she came into us and she was in really bad shape. She's 70 years old or whatever. We've gotten her to the point where now she can water ski. She can water ski. She's 70 years old and she couldn't hardly walk. And literally in about 3 months, we got her to where she can water ski.
Unbelievable. What was the time frame?
Like I said, within about 3 months.
Oh, 3 months?
3 months. Yeah, because, I mean, literally in my office, we really make an attempt to have like a checks and balance system. So we start her off, we got a system where we designed a system essentially that we look at her movement patterns. We take those movement patterns and we say, okay, what's dysfunctional? From those dysfunctional patterns, we lay out a treatment plan that essentially is going to say, okay, how are we going to take these dysfunctions or these problem areas, and we're going to try to relieve these areas so that essentially she can recover and thrive. And then from there, you know, at the second month, we were really working on her endurance. So we kind of took away all the dysfunctions that first month. Then the second month and the third month, we were really trying to build up her endurance as much as possible. Okay, so that she can do those things, do those activities without falling apart.
Jeez. So explain this to me. And by the way, usually your voice is very robust and
yes,
strong.
I have to apologize. I have allergies right now. And so, look, of course, what always happens, you have an event that we planned literally like 2 months in advance. And then like 3 days in advance, literally, I start having allergies. And now my voice is kind of, normally I'm loud and boisterous. Yeah.
No, you have a lot of energy. You are like.
Yeah. Now I'm just like, yeah, I can carry my water and, of course, trying to, you know, manage the best I can.
You're doing great. So explain this one to me. So again, this is anecdotal and kind of something that I can see.
You gotta get back to the chiropractic connoisseur thing.
Well, all right. So this is what happened. So Rachel and I are dating, and she's going to a chiropractor now.
Okay.
And she's going.
Yep.
And over 2 or 3 months, she just feels great. Yep. She feels great. Yep. Everything's kind of been corrected. Mm-hmm. And she didn't wait too long.
Yep.
You know, some people, I think, feel discomfort. And
you wait years.
I think people don't understand, some people don't understand how good others feel.
Yeah.
And then people who feel really good, they see others that don't feel as well. And you ever notice like there's like people who feel really good sometimes like to unknowingly preach to others, oh, you should do this.
Yeah.
Oh, my chiropractor has a red light therapy, and then you can go into the cold plunge afterwards. And let me tell you, after you do that, you
Which
will
I
be
have both of those, by
which
the
you
way.
have both of those, which goes back to when Rachel will get up in the morning and she'll go over to Active Edge and she'll go through, and I don't know the order of what she's doing this with you, but there's also the, what's the drip, the lymphatic drip? Is that, am I making this up? Does she do that over, there's something?
No, she doesn't do it over here. No.
She doesn't do that over there?
No, there's a place, I don't remember the name of it, but where you have to have like a nurse or a nurse practitioner there to administer those things.
But what is she doing over at Active Edge? Is she doing the red light? Well, you can't say, right?
I can't say.
Okay, no, she is doing the red light therapy, and then what happens is she's all nestled, snug in there, and the red light comes over her body, and then when she comes out of that thing, she opens up the top of the cold plunge, and she says that she can smell the cold air.
Yes.
She can smell the cold.
So my idea between the cold plunge and the red light therapy. So first of all, getting adjusted is the primary goal of my office, okay? Trying to get mobility into people's bodies. But also, too, I was getting frustrated with the fact that people come in with such chronic inflammation. And so I was like thinking to myself, how do I fix chronic inflammation without drugs and surgery? Because that's what my whole practice is about. How do I help reduce your pain without drugs and surgery? And so to do that, I was like, okay, I was doing some research about red light therapy. Now, there's different grades of red light therapy. Some of the red light therapy out there is very, and I'm not trying to dissuade people, but there's sometimes, I'm going to use Planet Fitness as an example. They have red light therapy over there, but get
some water.
The red light therapy that they have over there has a certain energy level. So it's basically about, I think, 200 to 300 nanometers. Mine is about 800 nanometers of infrared red light, okay? You have to get into the 800 nanometer or above range in order to affect cells. Okay. And what I tell people about red light is it's like you plugging your phone in at night. You're charging your cells so they work better. That's all red light therapy is, okay? And there's a difference between red light, which makes you look pretty, which is helpful, but it helps with scars and helps your skin appearance and things. And then infrared, which goes into the cells to make them work faster, work better, so that it is reducing inflammation.
And that's the kind of red light that
that's
you're
what
using?
I have.
Is
that's what I'm using. It's a medical grade red bed. And the reason why I started using it is because there was some research about people who came in with Parkinson's disease, and it's significantly reduced their Parkinson's. Now, I have a lady, literally, she came to see me. She's about in her early 20s. She was, she, from a young age, had been dealing with major seizures. She would have like 6 or 7 seizures a day, okay? Now, between us working on her nervous system, with the adjustments, and then us working with her on the red light bed. And I had her do some cold plunging a little bit too. She was a little apprehensive about that, but we did a little bit of that too.
About the cold plunge?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
But here's the deal. She hasn't had a seizure since. The only time she gets one is when she has a sickness. But she went from having 6 seizures a day and having no quality of life to literally having no seizures. And that was within a 2-month period.
It's unbelievable. So there's this psychological thing where people get out of that red light bed. And again, this is anecdotal from Rachel, who will come home.
Sure.
And I'm at work already, but she'll call me. Okay, so there's this, I don't want to say that your therapies are addictive. I'm not going to say that.
No.
Because they're not addictive. What I'm saying is you feel so good afterwards, after a certain amount of time. You think to yourself, yeah, I really want to feel like that again. How do I feel good?
I think people constantly get into what I call the negative feedback loop, okay? So you get into like a chronic pain situation, and then constantly you feel pain, you get depressed. You feel more pain, you get depressed. And that cycle goes on and on and on. And a lot of times people don't feel like they can break it. And there's becoming more and more research out about people suffering from chronic pain and then suffering from depression, and how those two can work tandemly with each other. And so my objective is to try to break that loop. I have to try to break that loop. I do that, again, through increasing mobility, through working with your overall well-being so that you can recover and thrive in life. Because, I mean, you want to be able to, in life, have a quality of life, not just a quantity, but a quality. And people need to focus on that. They need to focus on the fact that, listen, how do I get the best quality out of the years that I'm living?
So before I go through my notes on the dumb things that normal people like me do to cause themselves discomfort or pain, before I get into that, and this is like really kind of fun stuff.
Sure, let's hear it.
Before I do that, there are regular people that just don't feel great.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't feel good. Before I get into this,
Sure.
What are things that a normal person, just when they wake up in the morning, this is like, let's assume that, because sometimes you always manage to get a lot of my family and friends into Active Edge.
Oh my God, you guys are amazing at referring people to me. I really appreciate it.
Well, we do that because we feel so good, and we're living on. And I'm saying this humbly, okay? I don't want to say it like I'm bragging.
Yeah,
it's a lot of work to feel good. On one hand, it's effortless when you kind of surrender, but you have to put in work.
Anything in life is worth a struggle. Anything in life is worth is a struggle and worth, and you have to put in the struggle to get anything worthwhile out of life.
So let's assume that a new person is going to come in, a new patient, and let's say, so I was going to say that you're very good at getting us in whenever kind of we want, and I think we're really good patients of yours that if there's
I try.
You're very good at getting us in.
Especially if someone's in really bad pain, I try to get them in as soon as possible. Of course, my schedule keeps getting more and more booked, and so it makes it harder. But it's not like people have to wait 3 weeks or 4 weeks in advance. It's usually like a day or 2,
Right. But for new people, I noticed that you kind of squeeze them in, even though you're super busy. You do a lot to take care of your people.
I hate someone coming in who's waited, I don't know, 2-3 years, and they're like literally, like like so disabled. I've had people crawl into my office literally, and that's hard to watch.
So let's just assume, based on the fact that you get people in very quickly, let's assume they've got 2 or 3 days before they can come in, okay? Because either their schedule is too tight or yours is too tight.
Sure.
What can the average person do? They just don't feel great, okay? And I'm not talking about catastrophic injuries where they've been in a car accident. I'm talking, because obviously I would send those people your way as well. But there are so many people that just don't feel great, and they don't even know.
Yeah.
They don't even know how bad they feel.
Yeah.
And I can kind of look at them and say, oh, man, I wish I could. Because I don't want to give that person advice because it's unsolicited advice. I'm not an expert.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I'm preaching to somebody. It's like people who won't shut up about Bitcoin or CrossFit. It's like, oh, let me tell you about all of these things. And I'm pointing at myself here.
And they're very enthusiastic.
Yeah. And it's like,
very enthusiastic, yes.
So
the CrossFitters it's amazing how much they enjoy pain.
Well, yeah.
And I take care of a lot of CrossFitters, because they got a lot of impingement syndrome. So.
Well, yeah, because CrossFit is a sport.
Yes.
It's a sport. All right. So a person wakes up, they just don't feel great. If that person is sitting in front of you, what would you tell that person to feel better? Clearly,
it's hard to. That scenario is hard because you don't know what's happening in that person's life. So clearly, everyone is on a case by case basis.
Let's say
okay, but if I'm just like, initially, okay, this is assuming someone is feeling bad, but they can still move to some extent, right? Okay. Walking is huge. Okay, I was just telling a patient the other day. I had a guy who came in to see me. He had 2 heart attacks before the age of 60. Okay, 2 heart attacks, and he lived, and he's still living. He lived to be, he's now 87, I think, and the reason why he's living is because he walks every day, 3 to 4 miles a day, every day.
Do you think that's why?
Absolutely.
No, I'm not pushing back against that.
Well, is his doctor.
I think that's why,
his
too.
heart doctor was very smart to say, you need to get walking, otherwise you're going to have another heart attack. And honestly, he's like, that's when I woke up when I was 60 years old, and now he walks every day, 3 to 4 miles, no exception. And with that, you're increasing circulation, which circulation plays a huge part of the body because your blood affects every part of your body. And that oxygen affects every part of your body. And plus you're building endurance from the walking. So if we're looking at a patient that literally is just dealing with chronic pain but can still move, walking. And I'm not talking about you having to walk 3 to 4 miles a day. Start slow. Do 5 minutes, do 10 minutes, build it up to 30 minutes. But walking is huge. Another thing I would say, this is sun. Get outside. Breathe Mother Nature. When I get, anxious and stressed out, I take my shoes off, I walk outside, and I just feel the grass on my feet, and I feel the sun on my face, and it's amazing what vitamin D can do for you. So, as far as from a mood standpoint, that's very good for that. And then as far as walking, they're very simple things. Now, again, is that going to cure their chronic disease? No, but it will give them a boost. And again, like we talked about before, it's the small steps that add up on a day-by-day basis that get you to where your goals are going to be. Yeah. And you know what? We need to promote more and more that idea of hope. Like, hope and empathy are powerful tools. I tell people all the time, and I understand it, when someone has cancer and they're terminally ill and the doctor says you have 6 months to live, I understand that, like, if he has an aggressive form of cancer, it makes sense to say you got an aggressive form of cancer. That makes sense. But when you give someone a timeline, that automatically tells them, guess what, I'm going to die in 6 months. It's better, just, in my opinion, if you give someone hope, they'll go on longer. And we don't do enough of that in healthcare. We don't give people hope. We don't give people empathy. And when you do that, it gives them that little bit of positivity that will propel them to the next stage. Yeah. And so I always try at my office to try to give that hope and empathy as much as possible, because I want to see that 70-year-old, going skiing. I want to see that 85-year-old still walking, and if we don't do those things in healthcare, then people just fade.
Do you think people, how you talk about it's the small things, it's the little things? I've been hearing this my whole entire life. Mm-hmm. Do you think more and more people are forgetting about the small things? Do you think they're doing less of the small things? Or do you think...
I think we get inundated with distractions. I think people are constantly getting inundated with distractions, whether it be, and I'm just as guilty as the next person. After a long day, I'll come home and I'll be like, I just want to veg out in front of my phone because I've been talking to people all day long. Okay? But we get inundated with distractions, and when honestly, I should just put the phone down and say, hey, look at what I got in front of me. I got 4 beautiful kids in front of me. They're playing. They're showing me how they built this awesome Lego set. Or they're showing me, that they can hit the baseball a lot farther now. We get inundated with distractions.
How many kids you got? 4?
4, yeah. And they're real small kids. That's actually more of a job for me than my actual job.
When you get home?
Oh, God, yes. Because, 7, 6, 4, and 2.
Doesn't your wife help a little bit?
Oh, of course. No. My wife is wonderful. My gosh, my wife is, I don't know how she does it. She's a stay-at-home mom. I really don't know how she does it. I don't know how your wife does it. Like I listen to stories that yeah. We really got it easy in comparison to what our wives do.
Our wives, the idea that anybody would stay home.
Hardest job ever.
And run around and do that kind of work. That
hardest
kind of
job
work,
ever.
Hardest job.
Hardest.
Well, because it's more, I don't want to use the word imprisonment, but it feels like it. It feels like that to my wife.
Yeah.
She has told me on more than one occasion she feels like she's kind of in jail.
Yeah.
Where, like, for example, a couple of days ago, we got into a very pretty small argument about whatever we were.
How long have you been married?
It'll be 10 years in September.
Yeah, everything kind of seems small with arguments. After I've been 10 years, everything seems a little bit smaller.
How long have you been married?
10.
10?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
So like, yeah, I think guys try to, we're always like, I don't want to waste my energy on this conversation. So we're just like, okay, sure.
Okay.
But you went at it.
No, so I confront, and my wife is the one that doesn't want to fight. I'm the one that's like, oh, what? You don't want to fight me? I'll fight right now.
Yeah.
Which I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
For doing that. I just want to say,
a lot of energy.
we were at a baseball game, and I was talking to.
What T-ball game?
We were at a
real baseball game.
No, we were at the Quincy Park District 7 and 8 year old.
Isn't it so much better than T-ball?
Pardon?
Isn't like Park District baseball is like 10 times better than T-ball?
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
But also T-ball's hilarious.
I mean, it's important to have all of it. But man, it's like watching T-ball is like watching paint dry. I'm just like the whole time. I'm just like I love to see my kid hit, but my one kid is really enthusiastic about baseball. The other one is like me, where he's just throwing grass up in the air, just being like, when's the ball going to come to me?
Totally. It's a progression thing. In T-ball, the number one thing for a kid to do when he or she hits the ball off the tee is to run to first base, but you got to drop the bat. So all those kids are running, and all the parents are yelling, drop the bat, drop the bat.
You ever seen that movie Problem Child 2?
No.
He doesn't drop the bat, and then he goes around and hits the first baseman, second baseman, third baseman, and then the catcher. Yeah, that kind of what always reminds me of when they don't drop the bat. I'm like, when is someone going to get slugged? As they're going around the bases?
We're at this little 8 or 9 year old whatever baseball game, 7 and 8 whatever, and I'm talking to Brian Richards. We're talking soccer, and Rachel keeps on coming in over the top, like interrupting me. And I was like, in the car ride home, I'm like, babe, like, can't I just like talk to Brian? She's like, you know what? I haven't talked to an adult in 7 days.
That's exactly it.
I've been dealing with this crap. Like, you're telling me I can't sit there and just like join in on the conversation? I'm like, you know what? I'm wrong. Never mind.
Yeah.
You're right. I'm sorry. But it goes back to the
She does have a point. She does have a very good point, though. Like, I mean, again, if I had to, yeah, if I had to talk to kids all day, I mean, I love my kids, but like, it is nice to have the adult interaction.
Well, I'm like, you haven't talked to an adult in 7 days? You talked to me earlier today. She's like I said, I haven't talked to an adult in 7 days. I'm like, okay. So here are dumb things people do.
Dumb things people do, okay.
Phone addiction and constantly leaning forward or
text neck.
What is it?
They call it text neck.
Text neck.
Text neck. Like you're texting down, looking at your phone.
Yeah, and then just...
Did you know people at this point have started to look down so much that they form like a calcification, like it's evolving to where you got like basically like a hook around your occiput.
What?
Yeah, it's like the bone is starting to ossify essentially to where you have like a hook on your occiput because people look down so much.
Oh man, that hurts.
Yeah. It's not like the older adults, but like the younger kids, because the younger kids, of course, are doing phones at like early ages.
But so like flat screens, like kids are. So this leads me into living in an environment that doesn't support good posture. So that's everywhere from people who are sitting down at desks all the time, people who are driving vehicles, at long distances.
Well, I think it's getting better because, I mean, they're like some of my patients, I'll say, hey, listen, it would be really wise for you to get a standing desk. And all at my office, none of my workers sit down. They're all at standing desks.
Speaking, this is a good opportunity to talk about your staff.
Oh, my staff. Oh my God, I have amazing staff.
Who do you got?
So, Jessica is my office manager, and then Crystal is my front desk receptionist. I've been so blessed to have such a great staff because I'm sure you know too, like when you don't have people that work well with you, nothing works right. And they really keep me on task, which is great because, I mean, again, I want to focus on the patients and their care. And then, if I have to work about all these other things, again, distractions, they get in the way of what you're really trying to do.
Well, I've known Jessica the longest. Crystal's fantastic.
Oh my God, yes.
You've got really good people. So
really good people.
If they ever have a bad day, I definitely don't know about it because they are smiley, fun,
Good people.
energetic,
Good people.
good conversationalists.
Yes.
They're amazing.
We like to have fun at the office. I mean, again, it's important to have a good sense of humor. So,
Some other things, little things. What's not little things? So, let's say somebody is an advanced athlete. Let's say they're in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, even 60s, and they want to do something like, maybe they want to do something wacko like run a marathon or run a half marathon or run a 10K or run in the YMCA annual Thanksgiving Day turkey run.
Yeah.
Okay. There's no good reason for them to jump out and go do that, but they'll go out and try to run it and they'll get an injury.
yes.
So that's something that you kind of have to build up to that when you.
Unfortunately, there's that wear and tear that builds up and then accumulates. And a lot of times people come to me like, Doc, I just bent down to pick up a towel. And I said, yeah, the towel caused the explosion. But the fact is, it's that bending improperly over years that eventually, lit the fuse that essentially led to you picking up the towel and then making you fall to the ground.
Or like when you pick up a kid incorrectly or you pick up groceries incorrectly.
It all builds upon itself.
And you can feel. So a year or two ago, you were giving me an adjustment, and you said, I was kind of inflamed. It really hurt. And you said, what'd you do? And I told you what I did, and you didn't laugh at me, which thank you for not laughing.
No, that's good.
I go, I was shampooing my hair.
Yep.
And you go, oh.
It's always dumb things. It's always dumb things.
No, this is what happened.
Always dumb things.
I'm in there and I'm not feeling very good. I've got this problem back here on my right shoulder blade in my right back, and it really hurts. It's from an old wrestling injury, and I go and it kind of hurts.
But that's interesting you mentioned that because again, you got the old wrestling injury. You probably sleep on that shoulder, so you got that. You got that combined with that, and then you're righty, aren't you? You're righty. You're righty.
I can go either way.
Either way, okay. Yeah. Well, regardless, anytime you're lifting improv, those all build upon themselves to finally your body's like, enough's enough. You go shampoo your hair and then suddenly it craps out on you.
I yelled, asked for my wife. She comes running. She's like, what did you do? What's the matter? I go, well, I'm shampooing my hair. She's like, did you fall? I'm like, no. She goes, what'd you do? I go, I was shampooing my hair. Yeah. She go, well, I was in a hurry.
Yeah.
And I'm like doing it really quick. And I'm like, and I'm like stuck in that position.
Yeah.
I mean, I could not move for a day or two. And then I came to see you and then you fixed it. Thanks.
Good.
Here's another stupid thing that people do.
That's a stupid question.
Getting too many surgeries and like if they go to, surgeons like to cut.
Yeah, of course. That's what they do. That's what I do. I don't. So surgeons like to cut. I like to adjust. You know what you know. Okay.
Yeah.
So I understand that.
Yeah.
And there's a time and place for all of it.
Sitting on their wallets all day in a car.
First thing, if I see a wallet in someone's back pocket, I tell them to put it in the front pocket, and I keep on hassling them about it until they do it. It's the same thing with the ladies at the ladies come to see me. They probably don't like it, but I'm like, oh, those are really nice shoes. But I would encourage you to use some, wear better shoes. I always try to preface it by saying, you got really nice shoes, but you know what? It's really not doing your back's a favor. So,
yeah, I think
and then they're just like, okay, they give me.
To have beauty, you have to go through pain.
You got to go through pain, yeah.
But so I don't have my wallet with me, but I've got a real thin, razor thin wallet.
Oh, heck yeah.
There's 2 or 3, but my dad's wallet is like 2 inches thick. It looks like a double cheeseburger.
Mine used to be that way. Mine used to look like a file cabinet, and then I got the Ridge wallet, and I love the Ridge wallet. It's like super thin, and I just stick it in my front pocket, and I call it a day.
But I'm trying to think, if you're sitting in a car or a truck or a semi, or you're sitting at your desk,
or
you're
on
on
the
couch,
offsetting your pelvis the whole day,
the whole time,
all day long.
What's going to happen in a year, 5 years, 10 years, or even in a week? What's going to happen? This is a big one.
Go ahead. Let's hear it.
So I wrote not exercising in the morning.
Yeah.
Because I know that's a controversial thing to add that prepositional phrase in the morning.
Yeah.
And I want to ask your opinion on this. So the idea of somebody not doing simple self-maintenance for themselves, such as maybe it's 5 sit-ups, 5 push-ups, 5 jumping jacks in the morning, or when they get home from work, or an hour or two before bedtime, whatever you got to do to make sure that you can fall asleep. Because some people work out at night at 8 p.m., but they come home and they're all jazzed up. They're ready to go because they worked out.
Yeah.
So for me personally, it's a personal thing where I think working out in the morning sets the tone for the rest of my day. It fixes my circadian rhythm in a way that makes me really tired at night.
Yeah.
It makes me eat
Yes.
at certain times as opposed to not. I don't know
Yes.
what do you have a
Well, I'm not going
specific
to.
time frame?
I'm going to encourage both, whatever works for your schedule. But at the same time, I'm kind of in your camp as far as I work out at 5 o'clock in the morning every day, and partly it's because I got a very physical job, so I like to be ready to go, like my muscles and everything kind of lubricated, so that I can work on people all
Do
day.
you take
long.
a lunch?
I take a lunch from 12 to 1.
You do?
Yeah, I do.
But what time does your day start?
My day starts at 8, and then I'm there usually from I'm 8 to noon, and then from 1 to about 6 usually, because we'll have people come in, and I'll be working until about 5:36 on people.
So 1 to 6, 5, and I'm doing the math here. So 9 hours a day. So you're working out first thing in the morning, then coming. Man, that's a long day.
It's a long day. But I find for me, it's more because my kids, I want to spend time with my kids. So if I'm going to go work out like in the evening, then, again, I'm not going to be spending any time with my kids. Where if I get up at 5, work out, go to work, then when I get home, I'm dad. I can be dad.
How do you feel about people cracking their own neck?
I don't like it. Some would say it just, keeps me from having a patient or something. That's not really the case. I mean, what you're doing is you're tearing ligaments. I mean, because basically it should be controlled movements to get your neck moving. And when you self manipulate your neck or whatever, what happens is usually you're giving yourself like whiplash or tearing ligaments, and it's not good. I can spot a neck popper from a mile away because they're so hypermobile with their neck that it's like almost impossible to get anything to move.
You can tell?
I could tell. Yeah, I could tell. Neck
Do you
popper
ask
from
them?
one. Yes, absolutely.
Say, hey, do you do this?
I said,
What
I said, we need to stabilize. There's a time to mobilize and there's a time to stabilize. And honestly, in their situation, they're needing to stabilize their neck. I know they get the endorphin release from popping their neck, but really you need to stabilize that neck.
And part of it too is like they get so addicted.
It is, and it's an addiction.
Well, because you're sitting there and you can feel that something's off, so you do the quick.
But the question is, do they know what they're adjusting? Do they know what they're working on?
No, they don't know.
Because let's say, for instance, you got a pinched nerve at C7, okay? And you do like, man, my neck is really like, I got a real sharp pain here. And you do this, and you just basically cause that spine to put more pressure on that nerve. Well, then they, about an hour later, they're like, man, it's getting a lot worse. It's not getting better. Sure, they got the endorphin release, but the spine is moving in the wrong direction.
It's just so wild how you get. Okay, so I got a question.
What's up?
There are times where you're doing an adjustment. I don't understand how you know where the problems are. Sometimes, like a few weeks ago, or it might have been a month ago, I came in. I didn't really say much, just came in, and and then you start going through all the problem areas. I didn't even tell you. Mm-hmm. How do you know? So I know. So Crystal and Jessica are really good at saying, they go through. They'll say, how are you feeling today?
Yeah.
Where's your pain from 1 to 10?
Sure.
What are your problem areas? They're very thorough.
Yes.
They're very good. And then they're doing that work, and you're quickly reading it on your way in the door.
Yes.
Because you're moving and grooving.
Yes.
But there are some times where, and I don't mean this
No.
in a bad way, but sometimes you're very thorough, but also there was this one time a month or two ago where you just came in, you're super busy, and you squeezed me in.
Yeah.
And I didn't even have an appointment.
Sure.
You let me come in, and you just went boom, 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 boom. And I go, how did you know?
Yeah.
How do you know?
Well, I think your case in that situation was a little different than most cases because essentially, like I said, I have a system in my office where we're doing movement assessments on people and we're trying to figure out what their dysfunctions are. So I use the best technology I could possibly find to do those movement assessments and to figure out the degrees and where their dysfunctions are at. In your case, a lot of it just comes down to experience. It's no different than like a mechanic who hears a rattle in the car and says, "Oh, that's a carburetor." Or I don't know anything about Or, but like they can just hear it and they're just like, oh, I've heard that 100 of times. I kind of just know.
You're like
where
a
to
body
look.
mechanic.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm calling you the body mechanic.
Yeah. We're
Actually,
natural body mechanics.
Actually, I think body mechanic is the name of a chiropractor somewhere. So I don't even know if you can use that one. But it's just weird though. Some chiropractors, you don't even need to say anything. They can just examine.
Well, our field is very in tune because we're always using, chiropractors are always using, well, first of all, we're trained as physicians with a high level of diagnostic skills. And we use, but we've been taught basically to really try to get to the root cause of problems versus just treating symptoms. Okay. And so when we do that, basically we're using a hands-on approach to try to figure out all the little nitty gritties, feeling what muscles are tight, what's fixated, what's not fixated.
Can you feel?
Absolutely.
When something is.
Absolutely.
So what are you doing when someone's
or
laying
when there's
down?
Or there's inflammation or swelling or any of that
What
stuff.
about like when I'm laying down flat on my belly on the chiropractor table, and you're taking my feet and putting them together and what are you?
Well,
what are you doing
we're
there?
checking for leg length deficiencies, and everyone has a leg length deficiency. It's just a matter of how severe it is. But we're looking at to see if the pelvis is higher or lower on one side or another, because essentially your pelvis is like the foundation of a house. Okay, you want to make sure the foundation of the house is steady so that the rest of it doesn't fall apart.
Yeah, I notice sometimes if I come in and maybe complain and whine about a neck issue, do you ever notice I come in a lot and say it's my neck, it's my neck, it's my neck. By the time you don't start with my neck, you start from the bottom all the way up and putting my back together, and so by the time you get to my neck, it almost doesn't really hurt anymore.
The body is a puzzle piece, so essentially, not only let's use this as an example, okay? So yeah, your neck might be the problem, but or it may be one of the problems. But the fact is, I may have to work on your thoracic spine. The thoracic spine, if it's not mobile, the stress has to go somewhere. So if the thoracic spine is not mobile, it's going to go into the lower back or it's going to go up into the neck. The body is always trying to keep you to let you survive, or try to keep you going from point A to point B. So it will do whatever it takes to get there, okay? So like I said, the thoracic spine, when it's not mobile, it's going to be like, okay, I can't move here. I'm going to shift all the stress to the lower back, or I'm going to shift all my stress to the neck. And that's why, again, it's important to offer a comprehensive approach that addresses the overall well-being of a person. And not just focus on, if I was just treating your neck all the time, what if you have all this tension right here, and every time I adjust you, essentially that tension just creeps up again and affects your neck again. Then I'm constantly having to treat you over and over again. And my goal is not only to get you out of pain, but to keep you out of pain.
Where'd you go to high school?
Quincy, Notre Dame. Go Raiders.
Q&D?
Yeah, go Raiders.
Boom. Did you know in high school that you wanted to go into chiropractic?
No, I did not. Actually, I went to Culver Stockton College. I was a history poli-sci major. Then I went to be a political researcher in Washington, D.C. And with the thoughts of going to law school. I went to law school for a year. And let's just say I was very unhappy, and I was like, I needed to make a change in my life. And so I went through all this work, and it helped me in various different degrees. But I was kind of like, I think like most people, you're just like, I don't want to do this with my life. And so I decided to make a change. And I really think divine intervention kind of played a part, because my dad and I were working on a tractor one day, and he's like, well, why don't you go become a chiropractor? Just out of the blue. He's like, why don't you become I think he went to see a chiropractor that week or something. Okay. And I was like, at first I was like, well, what's a chiropractor do? And then, so I was like,
how old were you?
I was 23.
When he said that? You were
yeah,
23?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I came home and I was kind of lost. I was like, well, that was my plan. I was going to be I didn't really like doing the research. I like learning. I like research, but sometimes you do research and then you send it up to the higher ups and you don't know if it's being used or not. you know, and so it's not very fulfilling. And then law school, I just didn't see myself at a desk all day long. I wanted to be moving. I wanted to be doing something, you know. The thing I love about chiropractic is when someone's crawling in to see me, they're in a lot of pain. But generally speaking, when they're walking out, they can walk, you know, and that's a very satisfying thing in my life, you know. That gives me some satisfaction.
Yeah, because if you're a lawyer, for example, you can try to help that person go to court, but the judge may rule against you. Even if you did
again, I don't have anything against lawyers.
Yeah, right.
For me, it was just not for me. It was not for me. And so, like I said, I went in after going through law school and listening to my dad. I researched and I shadowed a lot of chiropractors, and I just love the fact that when I was shadowing chiropractors, shout out to Dr. Grimm. I shadowed her several times, and I loved when her patients came out. They're like, she's the only one who can make me feel better.
Becky Grimm.
Becky Grimm.
She's great.
Or she was like, or they were like, you know, no one could figure out what was going on with me, and she was able to help me get my life back. And I was like, I love working with my hands. I love the fact that you can make people feel better with your hands. And I was like, well, why wouldn't I want to do something like this?
That's amazing. So what'd you do?
So I had to go back to undergrad because I had like 0 science credits, and except for one, I had a biology credit. So I took like a crash course in sciences for like 8 months, okay, over at a community college and in Davenport. And then from there, I was able to get in, because I already had my bachelor's degree. And so from there, I was able to get into Palmer. And then I think people don't realize chiropractic school is a 5-year program that you can do in about 3.5 years. I did about 3.5. Yeah, it's an intensive program.
Is that going nonstop though?
Yeah, you're taking nonstop 34 credit hours a semester.
Wait, how many?
34 credit hours a semester.
34?
34 to 32 credit hours a semester. Literally fall.
What happened to 15?
Spring. No, because you're doing a 5-year program in 3.5. Jeez. Like literally, I should have just lived there the first year.
Sounds.
It's very intense. It's very intense, and I mean, I have the utmost respect for all my colleagues who get through it, and then we have to take like 4 boards. Hell, medical doctors only have to take 2. I had to take 4. I'm like, I don't understand the process here. Like, why don't we just all have to take 2? You know?
Yeah. So, last question.
Yeah, go ahead.
What do you do? What do you like to do when you're not working? So you're going to say spend time with my wife, playing with the kids. That's fine.
Yeah.
We have to discount that for a second.
Okay.
Do you have
a hobby?
Besides
my work?
Yeah, besides your work.
Yes. I love biking. I like not motorcycling. I like trek bikes. So Madison Davis, love them. They're constantly like, I come in probably once every couple of months, and then I'm just like get a hair in my brain, and like I'm like want to pick out a new tool for my bike, or I have way too many e-bikes to like, you know, and I enjoy my e-bikes, but I from a young age I love bicycling. I love to fly fish. I'm a huge fly fisherman.
Where did you do that at?
You know Bennett Springs?
No, where's that?
That's in Lebanon, Missouri. So it's about, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 hours from here, and it's got a very just beautiful stream, and my dad and I used to fly fish there, and every time my dad died at a young age, and so every time I go fly fishing, I just think of him. So that I love that hobby. I love going to movies. That's, you know, and you know, of course nowadays you basically fall in love with the things that your kids fall in love with. So my son Adam, he loves baseball. My son Charlie, he's constantly playing with Legos, which I used to do when I was a kid. So, you know, he's playing with Legos, and we just built Optimus Prime, which was amazing. Like, it's for like an 18-year-old, but he built it all himself. I was so proud of him, and it transforms and everything.
How old is he?
So cool. He's 6. It's amazing.
Really?
It's amazing to see kids just literally pull out of thin air what they're passionate about. My daughter, I've always been an admirable of like dancers, and my daughter, she'll just like start dancing when we're watching a movie, and it's just like I won't. like, we're going to get her into dance as soon as she's 4 years old, but like, we're going to get her into dance as soon as possible because she just loves doing it. Now, I'm not saying my kids are going to be, the next professional dancer or the next professional whatever, but it's it's amazing to see your kids so happy.
That's amazing.
That's why we love Christmas, to see our kids like open the presents and tear them open and see them so happy.
Yeah.
And Jack is 2. I don't know what the heck he likes, but we'll find out.
How old is Jack?
He's 2.
He's 2?
But we'll see what he loves.
Yeah.
But it's nice. You kind of start adopting things that your kids love,
Amazing. I want to thank you so much for coming in. We already, it's a real treat to have you.
Yeah, this was painless.
Painless, right?
Yeah, it's painless. It was
just
great.
like when I go on Active Edge, it's always painless.
Yeah, well, thank
Except for when you do the bar thing. Real quick, I want to talk about the bar thing. I lied. It wasn't my last
people.
question.
Don't scare people.
No, the bar thing is fantastic.
Yeah.
And very few chiros use that method, and it's fantastic. So can you just explain
So we
that
have,
real
so
quick?
what you're referring to is Groston. We have different ways of dealing with myofascial tissue. Groston is like more of a superficial way of dressing it. But I have ART, which is more a deeper form of treatment for myofascial tissue. I have what's called a soft wave, which we've been finding really good results with. And that's using acoustic waves to not only diagnostically find out where the problem is, but also we use it as a means to go deeper into the tissue, because a lot of times a lot of these tissues are very chronic, so the deeper the better as far as to loosen up that tissue.
Well, you're really creative and you use so many different techniques, and one of the things that I really like about going into your shop, into Active Edge, is just the fact that you'll always pull something kind of out where it's like, wow, I've never seen that thing before, or that technique. You're very
No one is
creative.
cookie cutter. No one should be a cookie cutter situation. Everyone that I was just talking to a lady today, and she's like, I never know what you're going to do on me today. And I said, it should never feel like I'm doing the same thing to you every day. I try to approach every situation and be like, okay, how are we doing today? If we're doing good, we're going to keep going that way. If we're not, within a few visits, I'm changing things up because I want to make sure that we're progressing forward. And then, like I said, I have that checks and balance system to use so that in several weeks, we look at you and we're like, you're getting better. Because if you're not getting better, I'm not happy.
Well, you fixed me yesterday, and I'm sure my wife will reschedule. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you for the time. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Good to see you.